Well, good morning everybody and welcome back. It is so good to have you here and thank you for clicking on the video. My name is Joel and this is A Stable Life. Today is going to be a very big day. There's a lot to fill you guys in on, so why don't we just get started, huh? We're gonna be starting the day off with actually mowing hay, which is pretty exciting because would be my fourth time mowing hay. I actually mowed hay last night. Got my coffee. I am starting the morning off a little on the early side. The sun's only been up for about an hour. And I was gonna start right when the sun came up, but I decided to get a little bit of extra sleep so that I could work the long day today. Today is gonna be hay, and just in case there's anybody that is getting a little tired of all the hay videos, if you've ever wondered what it's like to have 25 horses, you either are buying more hay than you know what to deal with. The finances alone on that are just tremendous. Or you're gonna be doing what we're doing, which is you have a deal where you're making your own hay, but you're also buying the hay. And that's actually what we're gonna be working on today, is we're going over to our hay farm, the ground we have leased. There's tremendous amounts of hay over there. It's awesome. I'll show you guys once we're there. Turn the AC down a little bit. Everything's looking pretty good, so we're pretty much ready to get going. Okay, fill you guys in on some information. I did not film yesterday. Yesterday we got a lot done. We actually finished baling, so our total count of round bales from our last cutting was 135. 135 round bales. That is not the total for horses, that is just the total amount of hay we baled. I believe it was like 63. I'll have to check my notes, but I think it was 63 was what we got for horses, bringing our total for horses up to 109. So today, all of the hay that we are mowing and all of the hay that we mowed yesterday is all for horses. Most of what we're doing now is just horse hay. So let's hit the road, let's get over to that hay farm. We've got a lot to talk about and even more to film. And thankfully this tractor goes 28 miles an hour. So we can cruise. So before we get started, let me give you guys a quick rundown on the tool and machine that we're using today. For all of our longtime farmers, you guys will remember a hay bine. So this is called a disc bine. So it's a new type of mower. Very fast, very impressive. Right now it's currently in road mode. So there's these locks on the back. We're just gonna move those springs like this. And then once we pick the hydraulics up, those will just flop right back. So this is our side guard. We're gonna fold that down and that'll lock in place. And then we'll show you guys the actual cutting deck. So unlike a conventional lawnmower or a rotary chopper that basically has two giant blades that spin, just kind of cutting everything and mulching it, these are the little blades right here. That's it. This little blade is all that's doing it. This whole thing is just to spin this little blade. Now these blades, as you can see, they spin like that. They're very easy to change. We have a bunch of replacements right in that toolbox there. And as you can see, everything's timed. So as I spin this one on the left, notice how they are all designed to work with each other. Now, this is designed to just ride along the ground and the whole deck floats. So as the ground is uneven and things are moving about, the whole deck floats, making you get a nice, really smooth, pristine cut. These two things right here are called rubber mesh rollers. You can see how they all fit together. So the hay gets cut once at the bottom and then flows into these rollers that are spinning really fast. These rollers crimp the hay in several different places, allowing moisture to bleed out of the crop. You can then pick how it drops it out. You can have it all the way up so it's shooting out, where these guys can then set how big you want the windrow, or you can have it where it just drops it straight on the ground, making an even flat row. And this is what the hay looks like once it's been cut. You can see we've got a nice clean cut on the bottom, and you can see that the hay is not mulched. It's cut once on the bottom and the whole crop is preserved. Incredible piece of engineering. You're gonna get to see it in action. In my opinion, it's a work of art. It's impressive. As I mentioned, this is only my fourth time. So Daniel has been teaching me and kind of giving me the rundown on how this thing works. And I really only run it about once a year. So I run it enough to get familiar with it, but never enough to get like proficient with it. So I'm very thrilled to get more time running this piece of machinery. The more time you have running something, the better you are at it. The better you are at it, the more you use it. So it's just good all around for me to know how to do this. Okay, that's about everything we need to do back here. So let's head up on the cab and let's get started mowing. So first things first, let me pick this up. I guess the springs are a little worn out. It doesn't look like they went. Correction, everything's fine. Okay, there we go. And I think I'll take this moment, you can actually see how the deck floats. So I'll lower it, see how the whole deck kind of just droops down. There you go. See how that floating? And then when I pick it up, you really see how it can float. It's on springs. Ready? Here you go. You see that? If you didn't, don't worry. I'll have the camera on it and you'll be able to see it a lot more in the future. So we have one hydraulic that controls that, and then another hydraulic controls the actual tilt. So this whole machine tilts out. I think that's only about as much as we need to do because we're going to be trimming along this roadside here, and then we're going to be continuing down that way. Now we'll rev the tractor up, fire up our disc bine. There we go. We're going to be going really slow for this part along the road here. I'm mowing a bank, so that means that we don't want to go over the bank. So I'm kind of just playing with hydraulics, because if we go over the bank, then the deck in the middle will start digging into the bank, and I'll probably have to go out and change the timing on all the blades. It'll dull a lot of the blades. It's just bad all around. So yeah, we're really close to that edge. There you go. You can kind of get an idea for what we're talking about. You can see it's really it doesn't make a lot of noise. Well, inside the cab, I should say. And it's a peaceful machinery. It's impressive what it's able to do. I got to make sure I'm doing straight lines. So I'm going to clean up as best I can, and then whatever I can't get with the disc bine, I'll come back with the rotary chopper and cut off flush along the road so that it looks nice for the property owner. We've got a mailbox coming up. Make sure we don't hit that. I think we were maybe 3 inches from that mailbox. All right. You got to watch these corners. There's usually property stakes, and there is. Oh my goodness. Now you can see what we mowed yesterday and just how impressive it is. There we go. Got our first round. Look at that, guys. Isn't that gorgeous? It is absolutely gorgeous. We are going to be spending our whole day here at this farm. So you're going to see us working on conditioning this crop. It's also so beautiful right now just because of the fact that it's got that morning dew on it. This farm has a number of wet spots in it. Specifically in this field, there's like 3, and it kind of ruins the field because obviously you want dry hay for your horses. But I noticed yesterday upon mowing, there's no wet spots at all, which is just so amazing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take advantage of the fact that there's minimal wet spots. Got a tree coming up here. So I'm gonna fold the disc bine towards me, kind of just go around the tree, and then go back over, and then fold the disc bine back out. And there's a lot of work with this. That's why I'm going slow. So right now I'm only mowing at 3.8 miles an hour. But once I get my rounds complete and I'm comfortable, I'll go up to 6, even 7 miles an hour. But I know Tyler and Daniel, they can mow at speeds of 10, even 15. Fastest they've ever said that they've gone is 20 miles an hour. I'm not gonna go that fast. I'm not breaking any of this equipment. But you do treat your equipment a little differently when it's yours, I suppose. So we gotta get everything that we are gonna be baling mowed, last of it today. Now granted, we are not mowing all of the hay today. I'll talk about that in a second. Now you can see we got the mower folded all the way over, and it's basically running in the row next to us. And if you look, there's a tiny little yellow arrow that tells me where the cutting edge is. I line my front right tire, and that basically gets me exactly where we need to. That only changes on the corners. So on the corners, I have to take them wide. Hopefully we'll get this down on camera here. Okay, I took that a little too wide, but that's okay. Doesn't hurt anything. Just so long as we're not skipping, that's what matters. You see how that whole deck floats? Isn't that cool? No hydraulics or anything, it's all springs. There you go. Just awesome. Got that little section done. We have this huge section. There's a couple lanes that are in these fields here that we're gonna mow. We've got that little pyramid down there. Pyramid, triangle, that's a better word for it. We've got a piece over here, and then after that we're gonna check and see. We've got one more field that we're gonna mow. We just don't know exactly which one. It might be the one in the woods. There's some wet ones on the other side of the creek that we're gonna check out. I say creek, it's a dry bed. It just only flows when there's rainwater. Now, what I would love to do is mow this entire farm. That way we can get all of this first cutting complete, taken care of, get it all baled, get it taken in. However, there are a couple things that are going on that change things. First and foremost, you wanna make sure that you get a good crop. Right now, the hay is pristine, it's beautiful. We need to condition it and we need to bale it. And those bales are only good so long as we keep them dry. Once that outer shell gets wet, we cannot wrap it until it dries down. And if it continues to get wet, then it will develop a crust on the outside. All of that will be waste when it comes to horses. They will not eat that. So making sure you have a clean, dry crop when it's baled and keeping it dry is paramount. They are letting me use their equipment, which is so awesome of them to do. And I'm gonna be primarily responsible for mowing and conditioning said hay, possibly even baling. We shall see. But we need to get all of the bales hauled from this farm back to the wrap site, and then we need to wrap every single bale. We're forecasting about 100 round bales here. That's about what we can handle before our next rain period shows up. If I cut too much, there is a chance that we won't be able to get everything wrapped, meaning that I basically just wasted hay. Now this will not be an issue once we have a barn to store our hay in, because then all we need to do is take the hay to the barn, get all the bales off, and then once they're in the barn, they're done. But wrapping does take time. It takes a minimum of 2 people, 2 pieces of equipment, and it takes them, I didn't time it. I actually should time it. I'm gonna time it this time around, but it's a few minutes per bale. And as you can imagine, that adds up for all bales, not to mention you have to change wrap in between each thing. Conversely, if you're just taking bales, stacking them in a barn, honestly, we would be able to do this entire farm in one shot. And so that is awesome to think about how in the future, that will be something we will be able to do. But this is only our 2nd year doing round bales, so we're not fully set up for that yet. I wanted to cut the entire farm, but upon talking with my Uncle Brian, he shared some wisdom with me, and I have to agree with him. This is the smarter thing to do. I was concerned that our hay crop is gonna go to seed. Right now, as you can see, this fescue grass looks absolutely beautiful. These reed canary grasses look beautiful. Once these go to seed, they basically lose all of the feed value for horses. So I don't want that to happen. However, I was enlightened. We do have time. This is not gonna go to seed for a little bit yet. We have time. That being said, we're trying to make sure we balance our time with the rainfall that is coming down. There is so much variables that are at play. Having a hay barn takes one more thing out and allows us to get the crop in that much sooner. The sooner you get your crop in, the better your crop, the better your horses. So we're getting there, and I think we're doing a mighty fine job for this only being our 2nd full year doing round bales, but I've got a lot to learn, that's for sure. All right, let's get back in the cab and get back mowing. Pass, we had a weird noise coming from the disc bine, so we're just gonna go investigate. Sounds like the blades are possibly a little bit out of timing. Let's see here. Ah, there it is. Wonder why that's just free spinning like that. That's kind of weird. Well, let's figure it out. So this is not supposed to be spinning like that. I don't like the sound of this battery. You gotta be kidding me. Oh man. You know, I didn't bring a ratchet. Okay, I'm actually gonna drive up. One of the neighbors might have a ratchet that I could borrow. All right, so it appears we hit a rock, and this piece right here was free spinning. Thankfully, the neighbor had a ratchet set that he let me borrow. By the way, Carl, thank you so much. You're a champion. So once we get this lined back up, got it about right there. We're just going to, where'd that piece, there it is. Tighten up this center guy here. Now it's back together. We'll put our cap back on. Oh, I just swallowed a bug. Oh, it flew right in my throat. Yep, that's gone. I just ate that. Oh. I just wanted you guys to know what I was going through. You had to experience it with me. So I'm glad. You know, it's never a good thing when you come down and everything that's controlled by gears is something that everything's locked in, but one thing's free spinning. Your mind immediately goes to, oh no, that's not good. I also thought they had to figure a way that this thing was going to hit rocks and it not break, and that's exactly what happened. So we're good. Everyth's good. I'm so happy about that. We'll just get these guys finger tight. In the future, I should really bring 2 batteries. Oy vey. While we're down here, we should check the blades. Righty tighty. Okay, let's test. Everything's working. All right, we're back up and running. Thanks to Carl. He actually came out and said if I needed a hand fixing anything, that he was welcome to help me fix it too. So, great guy. A couple of these blades look a tiny bit, but all of them still have a pretty sharp cutting edge. So I think we're good to go. All right, let's fire it up. Can you guys smell the pollen? And he said I can have this for while I'm here. So we'll keep this guy handy. Okay, here's the test. Yep, she's good. Everything's good. It's getting a little warmer now. Turn up the AC to 2. We're only halfway there. Well, this is kind of awesome. This whole section down here, we were only able to mow a tiny piece of it last year, and we didn't even touch it for second cutting. It was so too wet. It's completely dry. So I was able to mow the entire thing. So we've got all up there, all the way through here, and we're heading over here to mow this next. This is another usually wet stretch. So we're gonna play it by ear and see what we find. Well, great news, guys. If we see and take a look around, this is another field completely too wet for us to mow. So now, if you can see back there, that's where we were before, way up there. So what we're gonna do now is we have one more field that we can mow, and it's pretty much right over there. But that field is very dry, does very good. Not any wet spots in it. We were able to completely mow it last year with it being as wet as it was. Of course, you know, once it did get wet, it was dry for 5 weeks, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, there's a field that's pretty wet that we actually are able to get hay off of. It's all the way at the back of the property. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drive on over, and I haven't even looked at this property since I drove over with the truck a while back. So we're gonna take a look, see how the property looks, see if it's, you know, if it's there, if it's dry and it looks good. Instead of mowing the field that is, you know, we can mow when it's a little bit on the wetter side, I'm gonna mow that. And I'll just mow a little path to get to it. It's my strategy. If it doesn't look that good, then we're just gonna mow this, and then that'll be the last field that we're mowing here, and then we'll switch on over to tedding. So, good stuff. Well, I definitely think the hay's a little thick back here. This is the field right in front of us here. I actually think that I need to plant this. I would like to plant this in something. So yeah, I think I'm gonna mow this because this looks dry. Here, we'll find out. Right in front of us, you can see the grass changes. This is where the water sits. Okay, no mud on the tires. Oh yeah, it's go time. We're mowing this. Definitely mowing this. Okay, so that way we can get this field taken care of and done. There's another wet field that's on the other side. I rotary chopped that last year. I would love to go over there and disc bine that, but we have so much hay laying right now. Because of all of the reasons that I mentioned beforehand, we're just not gonna, because there's just a lot of hay on the ground. And then at that point, I'd be worried we just wouldn't be able to get everything taken care of. I have an idea to kind of make things a little bit better for everybody, but I don't know if it'll work yet, so we'll find out. Anyway, let's fire it up. Let me tell you guys, it would be absolutely insane, crazy awesome insane to mow this entire farm. Like the amount of hay that we're gonna get off this farm, I'm gonna guess 160 round bales, first cutting. And that is not including that bottom field. If we are able to actually mow that bottom field, that changes things. But that's my guess. We'll see what we get. Come on now. Don't want to go in second range, so we'll put it in third one, and I'll move forward a hair. Probably because there's like tension on the wheels. There we go. And we'll do 2-2 so we can feel things out. We are in 4-wheel drive. Lower our disc bine. Let's drive through the forest, huh? So the first row that we're gonna do, I'm gonna drive on the outside edge, so that way I can see where our edge will be. And then this row that I'm in right now will be the last row that we mow with the disc bine when we're done. Now this field doesn't really produce that much. So it's wet ground that doesn't produce much, which is why I'm mowing it, because it doesn't produce much. So we'll be able to only get a few off of here. It won't be that big a deal. But right there I actually see water lane. So we're gonna not mow that section. Just gonna completely go around that. I'm gonna dip down here, and I'm gonna cut up. We are at the bottom half. Look right there, that huge area there. There's a whole farm up there. Not ours, our neighbors. Good friends with them, great people. But huge farm, way bigger than this hay farm. It's like a couple 100 acres. And all the rainwater that doesn't get absorbed by those fields runs here. And then right over there, you guessed it, it's creek. This is actually wet here. I don't think I'm even gonna mow the outside edge that I'm in right now. Looking where the disc bine's at, it looks okay, but where the tractor is driving, not so much. Whoa, oh my God, that deer just scared me. I thought there was a person just standing there for a split second. I was like, ah, who's a deer? I hope you saw that just show up. I really hope that came out on camera. Okay, now this section of the field's pretty good. I don't have to worry too bad about over here. I also thought I would take this opportunity to give you guys an update. You probably have been wondering about the lovely wife, Megan. She is sadly sick right now. She is gonna be okay. She's just got a big major cough. She had a fever, major sore throat, and some other things like that. So she's been taking it easy the past couple days, poor thing. She's gotten hit pretty hard. So that's why she hasn't been with us. She actually was gonna be with me yesterday, riding in the buddy seat. She just didn't feel up to it. She was so sick. She wanted to come because it was such a beautiful night, but she just couldn't make it because of how sick she felt. So Petey actually ended up riding with me, but that's neither here nor there. So she is gonna be okay, and she is doing well. Just thought I'd update you guys as to why you haven't seen her as of lately. Okay, now over here, there's like a huge bank that I don't want to drive into. There it is, right there, okay. It's like a giant plowed ditch to run water out of the field. I'm gonna do the field separation here, right in this ditch. Okay, now we're about to meet up with where we have mowed. You see, like right here, this was fertilized, and it's only, I mean, you could mow that section with a lawnmower. It's that low. So I think there's a lot of moss and stuff in here, which makes sense. There's water that comes in here. So I might come in this field. I'll have to do some research on some grasses that are good to plant for hay in wetter hay fields that are good for horses. There's got to be something out there that fits all of that. I just don't know about it yet. Get some seeds and then plant it in this field. We have some timothy actually being planted on this farm up in the other section that we were mowing. We won't be getting to see the results of that for probably a year or two. Timothy takes a long time till it's like really good. But once it's good, oh my word. I've only ever seen one field of pure timothy in my life, and it was gorgeous. It took 2 years to get it perfect, and we got 1 year of mowing off of it. You mow it way later than the rest of the hay, which makes it kind of nice, because then you can get all of your grass hays done, and then you can do your timothy. Horses love timothy, very good for them, and it makes a lot. It's tall, it's thick, the feed value is awesome. But that same year we mowed it, someone bought the lot. It was over in that housing development, and they dug the whole thing up once we mowed it, and then built a house on it. They have a really nice yard now. That hurt a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. We're actually doing pretty good. We can run this thing up into fourth. Oh, okay. Not a good idea. You guys okay? Oh, I'm skipping. Ah! So what we're gonna do is, you see that hill up there? I'm just gonna mow 2 swipes, one up, one back, so that there's a road to come down to this field. And that'll be that. And I might do it on the property line, kind of just separate 2 things off. Instead of going up a whole gear, why don't I just go into high? There you go, now we're mowing at 6 miles an hour. 1 mile an hour less makes a whole difference, let me tell you. For those of you that didn't know, the tractor actually measures miles an hour in points. So like right now I'm going 5.6 miles an hour. Now I'm going 5.7, 5.8, 5.7. So those extra points, you'll actually be working in a field and you'll change something and you'll go from doing like 0.3 to 0.6 of whatever mile an hour you were doing. And it feels like you just kicked the thing into high gear. It's crazy. It's just the little things, you know? Okay, show you the mower. Mowing hay. This is what it looks like at 6 miles an hour. Now just imagine what it looks like if I was going double this, 12 miles an hour. Now imagine what this would look like if I was going triple this, 18 miles an hour. That's just insane. You need really flat, level, ground, but if you had it and there's no obstructions, oh yeah, this mower could do it no problem. For any of you animal lovers out there, I want you to know that I do pay special attention to the row in front of me, and I make sure to the best of my ability that I don't hit any animals, especially deer, because the fawns will lay in this high ground, this high grass. The moms will leave, but the fawns' best protection is that they're odorless, so they'll actually just lay in the field and not move. They're very hard to spot, but whenever I see a mama deer like I just saw over there, I keep my eyes peeled. Thankfully, from up here you can see down and you can pick out a fawn. They don't move, so you can actually go out, you can pick them up and move them around, which is what I would need to do if there was one in this field. I recognize that a lot of you view deer as pests, and that's because for you know, a lot of farmers they are, including us, they are a pest. I haven't gone deer hunting in a while, but I am a deer hunter. I do believe in hunting them. They're great, they're tasty, they feed your family, but I think that one going through a disc vine is just the most awful way to die, and I just don't think I could ever do that to an animal intentionally. So that's not gonna happen. No, no, no. And this is all hay over here, so they can eat to their heart's content. They're not hurting me nothing. That's the nice thing about being hay farmers, is that deer really aren't that big a deal. They're not as big a deal as they would be if you were a vegetable or a grain farmer, which we are, but not on this farm. Clear as mud? Clear as mud. Let's see what this field looks like mowed. Well, I was just out there to just kind of check on things, look at the ground, and use the restroom, you know, the kind of stuff. I am so happy I'm in a cab tractor right now, because while I was out there, I got absolutely attacked by like all the insects. I got bit by 2 horseflies. I got mosquitoes all over me. I was like, what on earth? Jiminy crickets. So I'm happy I'm in a cab tractor. I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention. I recognize I'm spoiled, I understand. That is it. You can see our little path that we just finished mowing. I can now turn that down. Fold this in. Perfect. Woo! All right. I'm gonna need the torque to climb out of the hill here. So that is just about everything. I am going to now head on back. We're gonna detach the disc vine, and I'm gonna hook up to the tedder. Now, normally I would run the tedder on my tractor, but today the temperature is a bit on the warmer side. It's actually like in the mid 80s. And with all the bugs around, I'm gonna try and see if they're all right with me using this tractor to ted hay. If not, completely fine. But there's no harm in asking, right? Look at this, this just looks so cool. This hill is thick. I mean, wow, this is thick. We're not gonna be mowing this today. I can only imagine the amount of hay that we'd be getting if I mowed this hill. The amount of hay that I mowed already is kind of insane. Ooh, and it's just one farm and we haven't even finished the whole thing. Just insane. Look how thick that is. That is some good hay. Good stuff. We got all that yet to mow. I don't know if that down there will need to be rotary chopped or if we'll be able to mow it for hay, but we're mowing it one way or the other. And then this whole hill we gotta mow. All right, we'll fast forward. If you see me on my tractor, you see me in this tractor, and either way, you got your answer. Let's get tedding hay. Disc binding, over. This piece of equipment you guys are quite familiar with, seeing me run. But the good news is that we are going to be in a cab tractor today. So no bugs, and AC. Both wins. I'm gonna try 2.4 first. That's range 2, gear 4. For the 120, this really isn't gonna be a workout at all. Oh yeah, this is working good. This is drying down quick too. Wow, this is really drying down fast. Man, that looks awesome. You guys should see this. It's just flowing so beautifully. Look at that. That is tedding up nice. I'm gonna do this little stretch. And then I have basically every single thing that I've mowed to do. So this is gonna be a while. Man, is this gonna be a while. All the lanes, everything. So, if you guys heard this, say it with me. Let's get tedding. This is tedding up nice, guys. This is tedding up really nice. I'm very happy with it. And the nice thing about tedding is you don't have to worry about running over existing rows, and it's not this huge implement behind you. You can just go as fast as the field will let you and the crop will let you. And it's hay, so I don't need to worry about being gentle with it or anything like that. Just tossing it around. Now what I'm tedding right now is what we cut this morning. So you guys literally just saw this being mowed. It's got a nice crust to it on the top. So now we're just exposing that underneath, and we're just blanketing everything across the field and then letting it dry. And then that'll be it for me today. Once I'm done tedding, that's it, man. Kind of nice. Seats just soaking up the bumps. This is good. So what is that? got 1, 2, 3, 4 swipes, and this field's done already. So this ain't gonna take long. But we have a lot of ground to cover, so we do have that. I have some good news. I talked with the landowner that we are leasing this land off of, and he is okay with us storing our wrapped round bales at this farm, which means that really cuts down on the amount of time and effort that is going to be needed. I can collect all of the bales and get them stored up here, and then we can actually bring the wrapper here, wrap them, and then during the winter I can bring my tractor and the round bale wagon out, load up 8 at a time, take them over to the horses, and we're set. I'm very thrilled about that. I know my family's very thrilled about that, because it's quite a lot of effort to get everything loaded back to the farm and wrapped. Now granted, once we have the hay barn, we'll just take everything up, load it, take it to the hay barn, and then unload it immediately. So this is the best of both worlds that we're getting right here. The best version for wrapping, and then we'll have the best version for the hay barn. Either way, it's good news, and I'm excited. This section of field is just so like you're riding a bucking bronco over here. Just wow. Man alive. This is the biggest hay field that we have, and this year it is producing. I mean, look at that. That's like what it was over at Benniger's and Kissenweathers, which are 2 of those other farms that we got a lot of hay out of, you remember? Oh, we got another doe. Or is that a buck? Looked like a buck. Young buck. Where are you at? Still in there? They're just on the other side of these trees. Just looked like one. I don't know where they got to. I don't see them anymore. But anyway, we have 1 field done, and we have 4 to go. Mind you, they are quite big. It was a doe. There she goes. Ran all the way across the field. I guess she's heading over there. We might see her again as we go over there to start tedding. What's nice about the tedder is you see this little dirt spot? No big deal. Love equipment like that. Well, there we go, guys. Everything's tedded, everything's done. Let's head on back to the farm. Well, tedding went really well, I gotta tell you. Oh, I didn't have to get out of the tractor cab once. That's how you know it went well. So just before we finish our video, we've got our question of the day that we're gonna take care of. Looks like I'm gonna have to do this back at the farm because my phone's just not loading anything. So, question of the day now. At the time of, we have actually answered a few questions from this video, but we have a couple more. The question for today is by HJ Erdy 20, which says, why did you stop marking the round bales with H and C? We haven't stopped. We do mark our bales with an H and a C. We just haven't marked them yet for this year. As for last year, as to why there was bales that were mixed back and forth, once we finished using all of our horse bales, all that was left was unmarked cow bales. So we had to use what was there, and since it was unmarked, I didn't know if it was alfalfa, clover, or grass hay. So on the way to find out was to open them up and look at them. This year, we're gonna be marking them a little bit differently. All the cow hay is marked with a C. I will be marking all of the horse hay coming from this farm and the surrounding fields with an H, and then all of the fields with an H, and then a number corresponding to what cutting it was. So H1 would be horse first cutting, H2 would be horse second cutting. I could put a 1 or a 2 on it as well. Suppose both work. It's probably easier to do it that way. I guess you guys will find out. But we didn't stop to answer your question. This is what they look like so far. Now I don't get all that inside the tractor. Always a win. Whew. Let me tell you guys, tomorrow is going to be an insane day. Tomorrow we got to get all of that hay raked. Hopefully it's dry. If it's not, we won't be raking it. So, you know, make sure it's dry, rake it, and then get it baled. Collect bales and get them all set up and ready so we can get everything wrapped Tuesday. Put your comments down below. Guess how many round bales we're gonna get? We'll see. Only one way to find out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Super happy to have you guys here, and thank you for watching all the way through. If you haven't, don't forget to hit that like button and make sure that you're subscribed. And as always, I will see you in the next one.